Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1709A, and today's date is November 6th, 2018, and the title of the episode is The Countdown to the Plan Has Begun, Phase 2 coming up. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk to all the Trump supporters. Noble Gold has just released a 24-karat solid gold commemorative Trump 2020 Freedom Coin. The demand for these has been staggering, and I have to tell you, there's now a waiting list for them. And if you're a Trump supporter and you want to own one of these, right now, if you get on their waiting list, they are currently discounting the coin over $50 per coin, which is an incredible savings for this commemorative coin. So to get on the waiting list and reserve yours, go to TrumpCoin2020.com to secure your coin. The link is at the bottom of this video. To make it a lot easier, all you have to do is click on it. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, this entire plan is in motion. We're seeing phase one of getting rid of the central banking system. And in phase one, what Trump and the Patriots have done is they're out there contradicting the Fed, letting the people know that the Fed will be responsible if the economy comes down. What they're doing right now is they're dropping breadcrumbs, trying to get the people in tune with what is going on. Because a lot of people out there, they don't know about the Fed. They have no clue what the Federal Reserve is. They don't even know how currency is created. They don't realize that the Federal Reserve just creates it out of thin air. And then the government, the people of the United States, come in and borrow that money with interest. A lot of people don't know this. So in phase one, it's getting people used to the idea that the Fed is doing something to the economy. The Fed will be responsible if the economy implodes. And this is why it was so important for Trump to continue the manipulation. I know a lot of people thought when he got into office, I thought this too, that he was going to get in there and tell people, listen, this entire economy, it's completely manipulated. The statistical numbers are not real. The stock market's not real. And I think when he got into office, they started to realize, wait a minute, what we need to do here, we can't let the people know because the entire system will come down. It will be blamed on the Trump administration. It will be blamed on those patriots trying to push this plan forward. So when they looked at the situation, they realized a lot of people don't know about the Federal Reserve. They have no clue what it is. And it's not like the school system taught you what the Federal Reserve was. I mean, you heard about it. You thought it was part of the government. And you thought, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be. Debt is good. So the beginning stages is to put it out there so people learn about it, hear about it, and they question, why is Trump out there contradicting the Fed? Why is he saying that it's going to be the Fed's fault if the entire economic system falls apart? Well, now we're moving into phase two, and I believe right after the elections, we will see phase two come into focus. And people are asking, why doesn't Q post about the Federal Reserve? Well, it's a little different than the sealed indictments. It's a little different than the deep state. It's a little different because the Federal Reserve, the central banking system, is the root of everything. This is where the funding comes from. And this is the main area of where they're going to attack. Because if we go back in time to the Founding Fathers, they did not want a private central bank system creating currency. They wanted the government to create the currency with no interest attached. So this way, there could be checks and balances. This way, the government just couldn't borrow and borrow and borrow. It just wouldn't happen. And what we're seeing right now is that we're heading into phase two. We're heading into that time period where you're going to see Trump, those in his administration, really call out the Fed. And we're going to see Q most likely start posting about the Fed. Because once the Trump administration gets the strength they need, which they have been for a long time now, and what I mean by that is they've been pushing a lot of people out of the government and bringing in people that they want, and everything is changing. But what he needs to do in phase one, which we've been watching, he needs to keep the manipulation going. He needs to show that the economy is improving. improving like we've never seen before. I mean, if we look at job openings, we can see there's so many jobs that are open, but there's just no one to fill them. Remember, these are not high-paying jobs. Most of these are open recs, but corporations are never going to fill these positions because they're on a hiring freeze. And we're seeing anomalies in the statistical numbers. I mean, right now, if we look at job openings versus unemployed, they're almost meeting. That means everyone should be employed right now, but that's not the case. A lot of people have given up. Millions of people are out of the workforce. This is how you know something's wrong. Actually, if we look at the job hires versus 12-month cumulative change in payrolls, we see there's another anomaly where if we look at job hires, they're continually moving up, and the 12-month cumulative change in payrolls, that's just going flatline. And in the past, guess what? We usually saw these both go up at the same exact time. We're not seeing that. Something has changed, something is wrong, and that is called manipulation. If we look at the housing market right now, we see it now takes 23.6% of median income to make the monthly payment on the average price home, making housing the least affordable it's been in nearly a decade. Now, why is that? It's because the value of the dollar has decreased, has lost all value. Bubbles have been pushed up, and wages have gone nowhere. I know everyone's talking about, well, wages are moving up. Really? Not so. Yes, they might have moved up a blip, but if you really look at wages, you can see that they've been flatlined for a very long time. And if you look at the housing prices, they've gone up and up and up. If you look at prices on products, they've gone up. If you look at the stock market, it has gone up. If you look at almost everything else, healthcare, it has gone up. And wages, they have stayed pretty darn flat. What does this mean? This means that the entire economic system is completely manipulated. This is part of the plan. This is phase one. Phase one is to manipulate the economy like they've been doing in the past, but pushing it to the extreme. Now, as we talked about yesterday, the Fed and those individuals working in the Fed that are not the good guys, they are boxed in. There's no way out of this. Remember, before Trump came into office, they did have a way out of this. And this was going to be a major, major event. Because this is the only way they could distract from what is coming. And this is the only way they can explain why the economy is falling apart. Now that we're not having this event, which I mean by the event is war, they can't explain away why the economic system is going to come down. That's why Trump stepped in and told everyone why the economic system is going to come down. The economic system is going to come down because of the Fed, because what they're doing, their policies. This will all lead up to an audit, to expose the truth, to expose the Rothschild banking system for what it really is. And what is it really? It's a system that does not work for the people. It's a system that works against the people. It's a system that the people never wanted. It was forced upon us. And we are now moving into phase two of the plan. The plan encompasses everything. Because you can get rid of the deep state, but if you still have the central bank, the deep state will form once again and there'll be new players. You need to go to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is the central bank system, is the Rothschild central bank system. It's been the problem going back thousands of years. And now it's the problem here in the United States and globally, because now they have the biz, the IMF. It's time to end all of this. And that is approaching. That's why we're seeing the countdown now to phase two. And phase two, we're going to see the plan accelerate. We're going to see pretty much everything accelerate right after the elections. And this is going to be pushed very hard because once the elections are over, there's nothing holding Trump, the Patriots, back. It's full steam ahead. And what I mean by that is that anything will be fair game. Now, the mainstream media, they're going to try to push back at every single turn. And they're going to say, no, this about the central bank. No, this about the Federal Reserve. No, this about the biz. No, this about the IMF. they're going to try to head off what is coming. So we're going to start seeing articles about the Federal Reserve, about the IMF, about the biz, because they know what's coming. Remember, think projection. Think about what they're going to do. We've already seen it where they're defending the Federal Reserve. They told us that the Federal Reserve is an institution of government. They're trying to convince everyone that the Federal Reserve is part of the government. But we know better. And this is why the push in phase 2 is going to show everyone that the Federal Reserve is responsible for the economy coming down, is responsible for the way we are living today, because the value of their dollar, remember, it's their dollar, has decreased by 98%. It has taken the wealth from the country and pushed it up to the 1%, to those central bankers. And it's not just here in the United States. If you look around the world in other countries, the same thing happened. This is all about the change. And we already see the change happening in many countries. The pushback is real. But again, to move from this system that we're in today, a central bank system, we're going to have to go through a transition. And remember, the central bank system has been around for a very long time. So this transition is not going to be that easy. Those people who are preparing with gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, having cash on hand, supplies, they will weather the storm a lot easier than those who have no clue what's going on, who keeps all their, currency in the bank. Those people are going to have a little bit harder time. But those people who have been preparing, the transition will be a lot easier. And this is why we've been telling everyone to prepare for quite a while. We know the end of this system is coming, and it's approaching very, very quickly. We know the debt cannot be sustained. It's an economic threat. And through Bolton, even though I don't like Bolton, even through Bolton, he's putting that message out there. And we see that everything is going to be moving into place to point the finger at the Fed. What we're seeing right now is Trump and the Patriots, they have full control over the economy, the economic narrative. The Fed and those individuals, the deep state that are and the mainstream media that are defending the Fed, they're losing the narrative. And this is why they're out there pushing that a recession's coming, because they're hoping that they're able to blame what is coming on Trump, but it's not going to work because the Patriots have control over the economic narrative. The Fed, the mainstream media, they do not. They think they do, but they really don't. And when things start to fall apart, you're going to see finger pointing like you've never seen before. So get ready, get prepared. We're heading into phase 2. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.